Let me come back to the reason we are here today. Many of you have done research. If you listen to the guest speaker on Tuesday, the former Vice Chancellor of MAST, the questions he posed, I hope we take and understand and we shall use. Why do you do research? If you cannot answer that question, then all your efforts are going into the drain. He made us know that all inventions, all developments you see are a result of purposeful investigation. But of course, I'm not going to talk about the Galileos, the invention of the microscope, but I would urge you to look at how these things came into being. We have a library which is not very well stocked, but in there's a volume which talks about, I'm going to call them scientific developments, how all these things we use, including this gadget in my hand, how they were invented. The people who invented these things did not go formal schools. I belong to a school of thought which believes that the current school system disorganizes people's minds. They are rather tools for indoctrinating people. We don't learn any new things in the formal schools, except maybe now the language, because that is the new thing that we've learned. But otherwise, if you watch a 3-year-old child playing with toys, you realize that there's that instinct that is inbuilt, and you don't have to learn. That's how many things were discovered. The guest speaker on Tuesday talked about our forefathers. And don't worry about my language, because there were also mothers. But the most important of them all we call them traditional healers. That's a new name which was given to them by people who do not know what they do. These are accomplished doctors, and if you, in my position, if you are lucky like I've been, I went into the history of medicine, and the one of Uganda is very interesting. I learned that they were performing brain surgery in Uganda. They were performing complicated operations. I witnessed my father performing what we know as hydrocelectomy and a general anesthetic. These people did not go to school, the formal school we know. What am I aiming at? Don't sit there and say, after all, I'm not a professor, so I cannot go into discoveries and inventions. Because what has confused you and me, we think all these things is science. That is a misnomer. Anybody with any ideas for solving the problems, they are not even for solving problems, because problems have been there and they are solved. But when we came up, we started subdividing things, that this is science, this is not science, I don't know what they mean. But all of you who are there to demonstrate a solution to a problem, you are scientists. What I'm pleading with you is not to stand and give up and say, that one is for scientists. Me, I'm not a scientist. Our Deputy Vice Chancellor here is a great scientist, in fact. But the school system discriminates. I don't know what they call him. He has investigated issues, he's written books, has provided solutions and very good advice. If you read or you attend to his plays, very educative. What more do you want? I'm saying all this because people get scared when they hear of research and innovation. Don't. What you do every day, you are trying to understand what is happening. And please develop that inquisitive mind and eyes. Use your senses. They used to tell us that there are 5, but they could now be more than that. When you use them properly, then we can solve the problem without asking or trying to import that, what they call science, from elsewhere. That is something which people have started. And you know this is a world of competition. You create something from which you can benefit and exclude other people. And you guard it jealously. That retards development. Investigate, maybe quietly, but I'm going to tell you that in the traditional system, we are not secretive, like the modern system. You've created this ourselves. You go into these research labs. They are so secretive, and they guard it. I was brought up in a lab in the foreign land, where the lab where you're going to do your investigations is kept under a very sophisticated key and lock system. And when you register and they allow you access in that, then you're a virtual prisoner, because they take your fingerprints and all sorts of things and use it. You use that one to enter. They don't want people to get in there to see and know what they're doing. And no wonder it has been abused. People have sat there and written fantastic things. In the end, you find those are forgeries or plagiarism at best. At least somebody who plagiarizes would have done something. But this one is just wait to copy. I'm talking about this so-called science versus our traditional systems of doing things. When I talk to some of my colleagues, they will tell you that, these traditional healers or something like that, that's the name they call them, that they are so secretive. They are not. If you see from the way they have developed their system, they also have their system of sharing that knowledge and practice. But somebody who's coming from out there wouldn't know, because it's in a strange land. But unfortunately, they come and convince you that they know better what you are doing. What kept us alive all this time before they came here? It is our own traditional systems of healing, traditional systems of healthcare before they came and spoiled it. Now the wonderful things we used to do, we have all been convinced that that was evil, Satanism, because we have accepted them. But we don't stop to see, but what are these people doing? You're going to find out that the things that these people came and told us were better. You'll find that these things actually originated from here. When we talk about inoculation, they're calling it vaccination. We're inoculating here before they came. They learned from us. A killer disease like malaria. I'm sorry if I'm making a speech, but I want to lay its background. The best treatment for malaria so far came from the developing world. And what they do, they don't want us to steal. But they're the best thieves. They take a bit of it, take it to their place, and then I'm going to say modernize it. But that's not modernizing, because things are already working. What they have modernized, if you talk about malaria, this famous tree, cinchona, so far the best treatment for malaria. When they took it there and messed it up, it became a very toxic substance. And for medicine, those of us who are pharmacy-oriented, medicines have side effects which can be made worse or better. The medicine which came from cinchona, quinine, when we were using it as a plant, a herb extract, had very many other uses. And when they purified it, I don't know how many of you have taken quinine. If you take quinine, the effect is terrible. But people accepted it because it was pointed towards a very dangerous disease which was killing people. But we are the ones who spoiled it. It should be used the way the natives were using it. If you use cinchona tree bark, you don't suffer any side effects. And you take only one dose. Now, if you go for theirs, it is not theirs, they stole from here. And then they put chemistry in it. And chemistry in itself is not the best thing. It is bad. I will go on and on and on. But let me come back to our situation here. Never panic and think that you cannot make discoveries. There are still lots of things in the world to be discovered. We don't know lots of things. If Professor Ogwal did not think locally, Professor Ogwal developed Covidex from our lab with Professor Obua, who was here on Tuesday. We contributed to the development of Covidex by working on herbal medicines of Uganda. But of course, you have to apply modern methods of handling things. Discoveries, this and that. They start saying this is the honor. But when we challenge them, we say, but this thing is from a plant. How can it be yours? It cannot be somebody's. But they always come with laws to say, okay, it is yours, it is this and that. But that's where I urge you to look around you. Everything you see around you, every living thing is important and is useful. Some of you take a walk. I think Professor John Ogwal, that land of yours where you are playing around with figures, you see what they eat? The same things which grow up here. But the things that I see them here, when I went there, they're the things you find in five-star hotels, including the banana suit. Isn't it a suit where the fruits are formed and what that bulb which remains? It's a delicacy. But us here, somebody came from somewhere and told us, oh, those things are satanic, we shouldn't touch them. This is why I think this kind of conference is very important. I like you to think local, because whatever problems there are local, and they have local problems, local solutions. Professor Onmech will agree with you that when you talk about a disease, the remedy for that disease coexists where that disease is rampant. Why do you want to look outside there? If you want to find nothing, look for this thing. You know, my background is pharmacology. We try to find medicines from natural sources. If you want medicine which treats malaria, don't look for the thing in Europe. You'll not find the remedy there. This is when I agree with the people who brought the Bible here. God is great. Where you find the problem, the solution is there. When it comes to health, where you find a problem, its solution is there. Whether you're talking about cancer, whatever other disease, this is well known. But those people, friends of ours, when they come, they're coming to tell you, that practice of yours is... He is going to tell you it is not useful. But you check his bag when he's going back to their village, to their home. They always carry things. And these very high-yielding foods were smuggled from here. They went there and changed it in some way. I want to thank the committee I've just seen here. I'm going to say, please, continue with this. We should have this conference on a yearly basis. I want to say, by the time we are holding the third conference, almost everybody will have an idea or a product. Almost everybody. If we only vanish that kind of mentality, we are all capable of making fantastic discoveries. Because the problems are here. We are all working around the problems which are here. We wanted to start a unit for traditional medicine. We started doing that one when I was still in Makerere. We traveled to the remotest parts of this country. Everywhere you go, if you find a disease in that community, they have a remedy for it. I was talking to one of my students, your lecturer, Rebecca. We have published these books per district, all the districts in Uganda. I went there, I found that these problems, they say, which disease is really bothering you in this place? They'll tell you 1, 2, 3. You ask them, how do you manage? They'll bring you a remedy. They have been very good people. They are not selfish. So we've compiled, I think 20 volumes, 20 of them, which I think I'll turn over to the University Library because it contains very important information. All the way from Karamoja to Kisoro, you only have to know. The language is not a problem because you'll find that it is in that language there, but we are now able to know what that language means. I'd like to thank Professor Onmech for heading this. It's very difficult to go in uncharted territory, but you have successfully managed. The first one is usually very difficult, but it has turned out to be very successful. I'd like to congratulate you and your team for leading the fight. Chair of Council, I know you are time bad, but I'd like to thank you for facilitating us to be able to do these things. The participants, this is the way to go. If you want to learn, come to this forum. This is where people learn. Yesterday, one of the speakers was saying it's very difficult to read. It's very difficult to read. Somebody wrote that thing in the way he or she understands. But if you see it and do it yourself, if you see it and do it yourself, you will find it very easy. And that will be the source of your first class degrees at any level.
Thank you for watching Lango News channel. Please subscribe for more updates.